guys! Oh, I look like a floating head. Maybe I shouldn't have worn the black wig today. Maybe I should just turn on lights. I'm sure I'll figure something out in the editing. So I actually saw Alex's Fiction Adventure do a TBR for the 2019 Popsugar Reading Challenge. I think that's like its official challenge. I think that's its official title. I've never personally read the magazine before, but I just really love that they encourage like a wider range of people to read, and that they're sort of influencing that to a wider audience, which is really nice. So for the reading challenge itself, I believe it's like a list of prompts, I can't remember how many there are, to help steer your reading choices. That doesn't sound as good when I think about it. It's like they're controlling you. I don't mean it in that way. I mean, it just kind of helps you whittle down what you want to read throughout the year. So it's just got prompts to sort of help you decide what book to pick up, I suppose. So the books that I've chosen for my own personal TBR are sampled from my 2019 TBR in general, as well as, again, just a generalised selection of books that I feel fit the prompts quite well. I may not read from this selection of books every month, but if they fit, for example, prompts of other readathons or reading challenge that I'm doing for a specific month, then I'll try and manipulate it so that I can kill two birds with one stone, as the saying goes. So whoa, when I started to compile my list, just briefly thinking about it, I started to stress myself out and get really overwhelmed. I just need to calm down, to get over it, honestly. It's supposed to be a fun, chill, you know, reading challenge, and I need to stop going so crazy in my mind, basically. Now, I was also going to do a few prompts every month and kind of give you like a TBR. One, I don't really do TBRs every month, although I have been doing them frequently of late. And two, I figured doing like at least 2 big TBRs would just help to, I guess, manage it better. And I guess it kind of makes sense because it'll be easier to refer to just 2 main videos rather than lots of little TBRs, if you know what I mean. If anything changes, I'm sure I'll update you guys and let you know during my wrap-ups and like reading vlogs and such things. Yeah, this is the first half of my Popsugar Reading Challenge TBR. I'm sure I'll do the next half in a couple of months or something, regardless of whether I've finished all these books on this specific list. That's not like a goal before I film the next video, it's just breaking it down easy, I guess. And then maybe at some point I'll dabble in the advanced readers section, but I don't know, I'm not too fussed about getting that all completed, to be honest. Right now, these are the books that I thought would fit quite nicely for some of these specific prompts. I'll include the link in the description to the website with all the prompts written down for you guys, not just the ones that I mentioned here today. And also, the other ones I haven't included today is kind of because I'm still trying to figure out what books to pair them with, and they're the ones I'm struggling. So if you have any suggestions, do feel free to send them my way. So without further ado, because I've been babbling so incredibly much, let's get on with my TBR. So I actually did a little printout just so I like visuals and I can tick off and I could see clearly what I want to be each specific thing. So these are just in a random order. As I say, I didn't just go one half and then one half. I'm just literally books that came into my head, I just wrote them down, and these are the ones. So I don't have all of them because some of them are library loans from cousins. That's really specific, but one of them is a specific loan from a cousin I don't have yet. And yeah, the other ones that I just haven't bought yet or borrowed or decided what to do. I've been talking for like nearly 5 minutes and I haven't even shown you books. I'm so sorry. So one of the prompts is a book that makes you nostalgic, and for that I'm going to be reading The Good Doctor by Gina Dawson. So this is obviously a story set in the world of the Doctor Who universe by the BBC. Last year I had read my first kind of Doctor Who inspired fiction, which was The Triple Knife, and it was a series of 5 short stories compiled featuring on the female Doctor's companions. So this would be, I guess, technically my second one, set in like the universe, not fan fiction, but inspired fiction. And yeah, so my boyfriend got this for me for Christmas and I've been wanting to read it, and I thought, this makes me nostalgic because ever since the Eccleston era I have been watching Doctor Who without fail. So that in itself is comforting, it's nostalgic, this is the perfect fit. So on the planet of Lobos, the Doctor halts a violent war between the native Loba and human colonists. The TARDIS crew departs, only for Ryan to discover he's left his phone behind. again. Upon returning, the Doctor finds that the TARDIS has slipped hundreds of years into the future, and something has gone badly wrong. The Loba are now slaves serving human zealots who worship a figure known as the Good Doctor. It's time for the Doctor to face up to the consequences of her last visit. With Lobos on the brink of catastrophe, will she be able to make things right? So the next prompt that I have a book for is a book with a plant in the title or on the cover. And for that I'm going to go for a new book that I recently bought. I haven't yet hauled it actually. And this is The Explorer by Catherine Rundle. I believe it's a middle grade story. It was honestly more of a cover buy for me, but it was the Costa Book Awards winner of 2017, so it's some sort of acclaim. But yeah, let me just see if I can find briefly what this is about. I feel like I recognise the cover of a previous book, The Wolf Runner, is it? Wolf Wilder, sorry. The name of the author I recognise, but I don't know if I've read any of her books. So it just says here, when their plane crashes, 4 children are stranded in the Amazon jungle. Now they have to survive alone, but was someone there before them? So it sounds like it might be like an adventure mystery sort of story. As you can see, jungle, plants are surrounding the cover, so perfect theme. Next I have a book about a hobby, and for that I'm probably going to pick up Bakuman. I cannot remember what the author's name is. I should really have picked up one of the physical volumes I own. Basically it will most likely be volume 3 that I focus this prompt on. I started this series, I want to say like 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, and I don't know why I didn't continue straight away, because I got to volume 2 and I was really enjoying it. I guess things happen, I forgot to pick it up, other things came out, you know how it is with the reading world. But this is a manga series following, I think it's mainly 3 young characters. I think they're in like high school or something, and the main character wants to become a manga creator. He wants to be a writer. He has a friend, I think, that does illustrations, and then there's a girl that they sort of are friends with that wants to become a voice actress. So it's following that, obviously their hobbies, their passions, there's something that these young kids are striving to do as a career-based purpose in the future, so I feel like that would be an awesome fit as well. I'm not sure if I will reread the first 2 volumes, or I might just do what I've been doing of late recently, where I read a recent book that I haven't touched the series in a while. I've just been going over like reviews that I've written to remind myself how I was feeling, and then I've been watching video reviews and stuff of other people to kind of remember rather than rereading, because I'm lazy and sometimes I just don't want to reread books. I don't reread often these years. Anyway, the next prompt is a book you meant to read in 2018, and for that I'm going to be using the Miseducation of Cameron Post. I can't remember who the author is, and to be fair I cannot remember much of the premise, to be fair. I should probably get it up on my phone. So this is by Emily M. Danforth, and this I think is one of the books that I got on Netflix, oh my god, I meant NetGalley. I tend to get like literary fiction, contemporary adult books on there, just because I prefer to take more of a chance with those sort of, if it's free and I'm reading it to review, I take more of a chance in genres basically. So this one says, when Cameron Post's parents die suddenly, and also I believe it became a movie with Chloe something, I can't remember her last name, and I think that came out last year as well. But yeah, when Cameron Post's parents die suddenly in a car crash, her shocking first thought is relief. Relief they'll never know that hours earlier she had been kissing a girl. But that relief doesn't last, and Cam is soon forced to move in with her conservative aunt Ruth and her well-intentioned but hopelessly old-fashioned grandmother. She knows that from this point on her life will forever be different. Survival in Miles City, Montana means blending in and leaving well enough alone, as her grandmother might say, and Cam becomes an expert at both. I'll stop there because I often find that Goodreads almost gives me too much information about the book. So yeah, again, sounds interesting. Then I have a book inspired by mythology, legend or folklore, and to be honest I could choose quite a lot. There's a lot of books on my TBR that I don't physically own. I'm a great reader of mythology. I adore Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, all the ancient sort of worlds. I find it so fascinating, and I love it when it's sort of manipulated and changed into a fictional sort of storytelling. And one of my favourite authors to read of that genre is Rick Riordan, so I think for that I'll be jumping into this book. Now this is the Trials of Apollo series. It's one of his newer ones, and it's book 1, The Hidden Oracle, and it's part of a trilogy. So this one I'm really excited to get to, but I want to get the other books because I'm hoping to do a kind of marathon reading vlog, reading all 3 of the books together. and then putting a video up there as well. So it's nice that I can integrate this into a reading challenge and, you know, tick that off of my little list. So basically this is about Apollo, obviously, one of the Greek gods. I think he's a Greek god of the sun and music, is he? I cannot remember. And I think he's a good archer as well. He is the twin of Artemis, who's like the opposite basically. So yeah, basically he falls from Olympus because he's cast out for doing something wrong. I don't know, we'll probably find out what that is. And he kind of wakes up, I guess, in the body of a human boy called Lester, and he's just on his like own personal quest to get back to Olympus. I think there might be Camp Half-Blood in here, which I really would love to go back and visit, you know, fictionally in my mind. I think they might see Percy Jackson, and yeah, I really hope there's some good sort of cameos from some of my favourite characters in previous books. So yeah, I've been really wanting to read this. I think I've said before that I put off buying this series and the newer one because I wanted to get the specific American editions. They're absolutely stunning. So yes, really excited for that one. Then I have a book on a college or university campus, and for that I'm going to be reading Dark Blessing. Let me just get that up. And this is by Sarah M. Craddock. So I've got this up on Goodreads because this is another Kindle book that I own. And it says, Kelly Landry and his brothers spent their childhood hunting the elusive vampire. Many hours they toiled in their covert clubhouse, coming of age under the veil of the unusual belief. Now adults and in college, Kieran and Dylan Landry have moved past childhood whims, pursuing their futures, but Kelly can't shake his call to the supernatural quite so easily. Again, I'm going to leave it there in case I spoil myself for things that I'd prefer to find out during the story. So yeah, that's got more of a supernatural twist, but it mentions college, so I don't know if it's entirely set on a college sort of base or if that was just a passing comment, but I saw that and I thought, okay, I'll go for that one. Then I have a book about someone with a superpower, and for that, bear with me, excuse the fact that it doesn't have a dust jacket on at the moment. I'm currently reading it as I'm filming this, which is very early. It's like the 7th or 6th of January, and I know this is going to be up in February. But that is Map of Days by Ransom Riggs. I've probably got less than 100 pages left to read. I'm really enjoying this so far. But basically, if you don't know, this is the 4th in the what was originally a trilogy of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. So this is the 4th book. I went to his book tour when he came to London, so I will link that in the cards if you'd like to see some of my adventure in there. But this is following a cast of characters with these, I think people have described it to be like an X-Men-esque kind of thing. I never really thought of it as superpowers, to be honest, but yeah, these characters have peculiar abilities, which is how they tend to describe it, and it's just following them on their adventures, you know, trying to defeat evils, trying to understand this, that, the other, life. It's very interesting, very enjoyable. They do have a Tim Burton film of the first book, bit different, but still enjoyable. I love Tim Burton, so yeah, I will just continue reading this. By the time this is up, I might even have finished this, so there's that. And then for a book told from multiple character POVs, I've got A Storm of Swords Part 1 by George R.R. Martin. I didn't read any of the Game of Thrones books or A Song of Fire and Ice books last year, but a couple of years ago, I think, was it 2015 I started it? 2015, 2016 I started reading like one a year. Not very cohesively, I guess, because I'm only on the 3rd book. This one doesn't seem as intimidating. It looks smaller than the others. I don't know if that's just me, but yeah, I don't really want to read you the back of this one because it's obviously of a series. It's the 3rd book, but I think a lot of you know Game of Thrones by now. It follows this, it's like a high fantasy, doesn't have a lot of fantasy early on, to be fair. There are fantastical elements, but it's more like about, in my opinion, political intrigue, fighting for the throne and the crown. So many different families believe that they are the true kind of heir to this crown of Westeros and the Free Cities and everything. And yeah, you're following a load of perspectives, so it can be an overwhelming story at times, but I think once you get, for me personally, once I get back into the swing of things, I find quite easy to understand everybody's different voice. Because you've got young, you've got old, you've got poor, you've got rich, you know what I mean? There's lots of different quirks that make specific characters stand out for me, which is helpful. So hopefully I get to this year. Okay, so next up we've got a book set in space, and for that I don't currently own it at the moment, but I'm going on a book shopping trip soon, so all the books that I don't have that I want to physically own I'll be buying, I'm sure. But that is Saga Volume 4 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, I want to say. So yes, I'm only on Volume 4. I have a feeling this series is finished now. I really can't remember, I kind of fell out of the new releases, I fell out of touch with it. But it's a sci-fi story, obviously set in space, and it's kind of like, I think I've heard it be described as a intergalactic Romeo Juliet sort of story. There are these two characters from opposing planets, I believe, that fall in love, and it's illegal, they're not supposed to. They've got all these crazy people after them because they've done something that they shouldn't have done, allegedly, and it's just them constantly on the chase, basically, trying to be happy, trying to live with each other and love, but people just don't want to let them be. So then we've got a book set in Scandinavia, and for that I've got The Unseen by Roy Jacobson. That's another book on my Kindle, so let me just get the information up for you guys. So apparently this is the first book in some sort of series called the Ingrid Barroy series. It might just be a trilogy. There's 3 primary works currently according to Goodreads, but I don't know if that's continued or what, if he's still working on stuff. But I know it sounds crazy, but Barroy, I don't know if I pronounced it right, has like a line through it, and I thought that looks Scandinavian to me. I'm not a I don't even think it's the word connoisseur in the arts of Scandinavian literature, but that looked like that to me, so I thought let me quickly scan the synopsis and see where it's set. And it said Norway, and I think, is it mainland Norway is part of Scandinavia. Right, cheating a little bit because it says something about an island, and I don't know if that counts, but still. Anyway, Ingrid Barroy is born on an island that bears her name, a holdfast for a single family, their livestock, their crops, their hopes and dreams. Her father's dreams of building a quay that will connect them to the mainland, but closer ties to the wider world come at a price. Her mother has her own dreams, more children, a smaller island, a different life, and there is one question Ingrid must never ask. Island life is hard, living scratched from the dirt or trawled from the sea, so when Ingrid comes of age she is sent to the mainland to work for one of the wealthy families of the coast. But Norway too is waking up to the wider world, a modern world that is capricious and can be cruel. Tragedy strikes and Ingrid must fight to protect the home she thought she had left behind. Sounds fascinating. I think around this time I had watched quite a few videos of Mercy's Bookish Musings where she was talking about cold island settings, and I was interested in that, so I've got to get to that soon. So another prompt here I've got is a debut novel, and for that I'm going to be choosing Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, sorry. This one I've just heard so much amazing things for it, but I don't usually get into the hype of books. I try not to because I feel like there's more of a risk of disappointment, but I just bought into the hype. I managed to stay clear of it until it died down, so hopefully all of that would diminish and I won't feel as much of that whilst reading it now, whilst the information has sort of died a little bit. I think they're getting a movie deal. It just seems so acclaimed. People again have described it to be like an African almost version of Aang the Last Airbender, Avatar. But yeah, it's a African based fantasy which sounds amazing. I don't think I've read any like that. Focusing on, I think we've got 3 main characters. Basically these people have been stripped of any, I think they're the Magi, can't remember, but they've been stripped of all their powers. They were most the once not maybe feared people because they had the most power, and you know how power is, people get killed, other people rise and they get demeaned of all their stuff. They can't do the things that made them powerful, made them happy, and I'm not doing this justice. I think I'm getting a bit tired, but yeah, I really wanted to read this, so yeah, hopefully I will get to this year and it will fit that prompt quite perfectly. Next, I have a book that's published in 2019. For that, I'm going to choose The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. This is part of the Winter Night trilogy. I do have 2 reviews on the prior 2 books, which were The Bear and the Nightingale and The Girl in the Tower, which I read back in December. So quite recently. I was quite happy how that fell out, actually, because if I get this book relatively soon, it won't be as long as a gap that it took me to read book 1 and book 2, if that makes sense. So it's nice to sometimes stay in that world a little bit longer. Obviously I cannot tell you the premise of the 3rd book without spoiling anything for the prior books. We are following Vazya's sort of medieval Russia. Is it 19th century, 18th century? I cannot remember. I'm really bad with those terminologies, but it's like a medieval fantasy world. It's amazing. It's cold. It's pretty brutal at time. Our main character, as I said, is called Vazya. She is struggling with a lot of things because her father in the 1st book recently sort of remarries, and a different faith is sort of taking over her village and Russia as a whole, and it's difficult because, well, if you read it, you'll understand why it's difficult, specifically for Vazya. It's an amazing series so far. I really do hope that this trilogy ends in a bang. I hope it's memorable because I've just adored it so far. So yeah, there's that one. Then for the next prompt, which is a book featuring an extinct or imaginary creature, I've gone for Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. Honestly, it's just going to be whichever book I so happen to be on at that time. I mean, I could just include this because currently right now I haven't read this. So I guess, yeah, Harry Potter 3, The Prisoner of Azkaban. A lot of you guys, I'm assuming, will know about Harry Potter 2, but if you don't know as well, this is actually my first time reading this. Again, for the past few years, every time I've picked up a Harry Potter book, which hasn't been many because this is only the 3rd one, I've done a reading vlog for it where I have been reading it for the first time, and they seem to go quite well. A lot of people are interested in me continuing that, so perfectly it fits this, it fits another readathon that's happening in February, and it fits the schedule of me just wanting to do a reading vlog anyway, so it's nice that it's kind of branching out into many different things. So yeah, this will be my first time reading this one. I've been loving the book so far, and if you would like to see any of the reading vlogs so far, I will link the first one in the cards for you or in the description if I've run out of card space. I cannot remember. But that is that prompt. Then is a book with love in the title, and for that I'm going to be cheeky and choose my magazine. This is my Mind, Body and Spirit magazine by D'Agostini, and this is volume 11. Basically I have a whole load of magazines down right next to me, and they're all still in their like shipping packaging and everything because I fall behind. I honestly will read books more than magazines, so these are magazines that are really insightful for me. I really enjoy them, and I have been cheeky because 1, it's a magazine, it's not a book, and 2, Loves, as you can see, is not in the main title, but it's in like the subtitle, if that's what you want to call it, down here. It says like what's included in the magazine: health, astrology, love, sleep, friendship. But so that was a really sneaky one for me, but honestly I don't have many books with love in the title because I don't read those sort of books that would warrant it, perhaps, I don't know. But yeah, this is honestly a great magazine if you're interested in the things I just mentioned here. You know, tarot reading, crystal magic, you know, light magic, stuff like that. Fantastic magazine. Very beginner friendly as well, but it doesn't feel like patronising or anything like that. So, a book featuring an amateur detective. So for that I'm going to be choosing Skullduggery Pleasant book 3. I think it's called The Faceless Ones. So in this story, sort of our main character, Stephanie, she is, I would consider her an amateur detective because she's following the footprints of Skullduggery Pleasant, if that makes sense, who is technically a detective. So again, that's a little bit far-fetched, but I'm viewing it that way. So again, otherwise I won't read detective books, so it would get kind of lost. So I cannot remember the premise of the first book, so I'm just going to get that up for you. Actually no, I won't, because I can never spell Skullduggery Pleasant, and I cannot. Let's ignore that. Basically this girl, a load of crap happens. She finds herself in a spot of bother. I've got a really itchy eye, really itchy nose. I'm currently still ill, sorry. And Skullduggery Pleasant comes into the life, this bony detective dude, and he has all the answers to her questions basically. Why everything's going crazy, he knows. He takes her under his wing, and we go from there. It's been a while since I've jumped back into this series, and this is the book that I've been borrowing from my cousin. So yeah, hopefully I will speed through some more of those books once I get the taste for it again, and that will work again for this prompt. After that, there is a book about family, and for that I've chosen A Fatal Family Secret by, hold on, it's another Kindle book. Hello?
Everything okay?
Yeah, I'm just filming a video.
Yeah, so filming a video, are you upstairs?
Yeah.
Alright, what have you eaten today so far?
I can't remember. I've had... No, not yet. I'll have that soon, I think. I've had beef jerky and a donut.
Oh, right, okay. Are you hungover? Are you okay, Jess?
I'm not hungover, Mum. I'm perfectly fine. Sorry about that. My mother. What was I doing? Okay, A Fatal Family Secret by Samantha Marks. Okay, this is another really old book. I don't know if I've already mentioned, but I've been trying to go through my Kindle books, specifically the older ones, and just trying to get them read because I feel bad, basically. So it says, if you could change anything about yourself, what would it be? On the first day of high school, Kaylee wishes she could be taller, curvier and cooler, but when she discovers she's a shapeshifter, she bites off more than she can chew. Overnight, she becomes a target, surviving the school year means defending herself against cyberbullies, learning to control her newfound powers, and hiding from the ancient secret society that kidnapped her mother. Morphing has consequences, and Kaylee begins to realise that being able to change into anything can mean losing herself in the process. Sounds interesting. So then we have a book written by an author from Asia, Africa or South America. So for that I'm going to be choosing Black Cat, whichever specific volume I'm on. Again, currently that would be volume 14, and that is by Kentaro Yabuki. Again, I won't read you this specific thing, but he is from East Asia. Yes, so this series, I've been really enjoying it. I think I started it last year, and I've been borrowing these from the library. They are so much fun. Really, really enjoying them. I don't think I've read a terrible book yet within this series, but basically we're following Black Cat here. He's called Train Hartnett, and he's like an ex-government assassin, if that makes sense. He decides to have a simpler life as a, what do you call it? Bounty hunter, there we are. But Train's past just keeps coming to bite him in the butt, and he keeps getting involved in things that he tries not to. It's such a fun series, really action packed, some awesome characters in here. After I'm done finishing this series, I think I'm going to check out the anime because I'd love to see like a visual representation of it. But yeah, that is for this prompt. So one of the other prompts is a ghost story, and for that I'm hoping to read A City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This will be my first Victoria Schwab book, I believe. Yes, I don't know why I said I believe. I know for a fact. So this says, they're here, they're watching. Cass can pull back the veil that separates the living from the dead. When Cass's parents start hosting a TV show about the world's most haunted places, the family heads off to Edinburgh. Here, graveyards, castles and secret passageways teem with restless phantoms. But when Cass meets a girl who shares her gift, she realises how much she still has to learn about the vow and herself. And she'll have to learn fast. The City of Ghosts is more dangerous than she ever imagined. Fantastic. I think this is her, I don't know if it's her first, but it's her middle grade series, and I believe she goes under her full name for her middle grade series. So for the prompt of a book with a 2-word title, I'm going to be reading Scornful Sadie by Felicia Tatum. This says, Sadie is out for blood. Desperate to forget the boy who was forced to forget her, Sadie leaves everything behind at 16 to fight the monsters of the night. Being a badass has its downfalls. She quickly becomes the target of someone no one saw coming. Oh shit! Oops, sorry. Returning home for her brother's wedding, she reacquainted. I wonder if it actually has a wedding in there, because there's another prompt that says read about something featuring a wedding, and I don't read wedding-esque books, so I could have chosen this. Dang it! Never mind. I don't really care. So returning home from her brother's wedding, she was reacquainted with Aiden and fights to restore his memories by realising she must save humanity. Can Sadie unlock the truths to unleash the power within? Again, I shouldn't have read further. Goodreads, you tell me too much. The next one is Gina from Siberia. I think this is a illustrated book. I think it's for children. It's by Jane Burstein, Charlotte Glynn, and I think Anya Desnitskaya is the illustrator. I also could have used that for 2 female authors, but hey ho. Oh, it says based on a true story. Did I say it was based? Yeah, a story based on a true story. Based on a true story of Gina, a wire-haired terrier whose family snuck her out of Siberia and into the USA at the conclusion of the Cold War. This beautiful and thrilling tale follows Gina as her family travels by bus, train, car, plane and minivan. Upon arrival at her new home, 5,681 miles from her old home, Gina is not happy and lets everyone around her know about it. Sounds fun. I love books about animals, but for some reason I haven't read many, but I don't know, they usually warm my heart, so let's see. And the last prompt that I'm going to be including in this video is your favourite prompt from a past Popsugar Reading challenge. And as I've never done it before, I looked on the website, saw, you know, a list of other ones, and I decided to choose one from 2017, which was a book with a cat on its cover, and for that I'm going to be reading If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. I hope I pronounced that properly, and it's translated by Eric Seland. So this says, postman's days are numbered. Estranged from his family, living alone with only his cat Cabbage to keep him company, he was unprepared for the doctor's diagnosis that he had only months to live. But before he can tackle his bucket list, the devil appears to make him an offer. In exchange for making one thing in the world disappear, our narrator will get 1 extra day of life. And so begins a very bizarre week. Very interesting. I feel like it could be quite sad and emotional as well. So yeah, that got a bit rambly, a little bit weird. But those are my picks for some of the prompts of the Popsugar 2019 reading challenge. Let me know if you guys are taking part and what are some of the books that you're going to be reading, and also if you did manage to look up the rest of the prompts and you notice the ones that I haven't spoken about here today, let me know some suggestions that you think I should go ahead and pick up for those prompts, because I am struggling, I will admit. It's making me pick up a lot of books that are kind of out of my comfort zone, things that I forgot about. Been gathering dust a little while, so yeah, I definitely need a little bit of a shake and just to try loads of different things, so this is a perfect opportunity for that. Anyway, I will speak to you in another video soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.